Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me. Today's video is a Q&A video, mummy focused or parenting focused. So welcome back if you're not new to my channel, but if you are new, I'm a mum of 2/3, and I recently put a question over on my Instagram about everything parenting to kind of break me back in. I've had a little bit of time off of YouTube because of our house renovation, so apologies if this room is echoey. I'm sat in one of the half-finished rooms, and yeah, I'm really excited to make this video for you all, and hopefully let this be the beginning of lots of content over on my channel. So I'm just going to read through all the questions and answer them as honestly as possible. So the first question is, did your boys have a dummy? Mine is so attached and don't think he will give it up. He's 2 years and 5 months. Yes, they both had a dummy, So Spencer, my youngest, is 13 months and he has a dummy. And my eldest 6-year-old Oscar had a dummy. And it was really difficult to get it off him, and I was in the same position as you, so I thought, right, when he's 2, I'm gonna do the dummy fairy, and we tried and we failed, and he just wasn't ready to give it up. So it was not long after his 3rd birthday, so he turned 3 in the March, and then in the June we went away abroad. And on the way back, I told him that we'd left all the dummies on the plane, but I just sensed he was getting close to the time where he may have been able to give them up. So the dummy fairy didn't work for us because I just don't think he was ready, but it worked when we said we left them on the plane. So there's no right or wrong, but don't put too much pressure on yourself because he will give it up at some stage. And I'm sure that you'll do it when you know he's ready. So the second question is, when did Spencer stop waking for a night feed? My 11-month-old still wakes once a night. So he stopped waking for a night feed around 4 months old, I would say. Saying that, I'm gonna be completely honest here. Like, lots of people have this, I don't know, perception that Spencer is some amazing sleeper. Now he was, because we were like really strict with his routine, but since we've been moving in living in like weird situations, he's been a little bit more unsettled. When teeth have been coming through, he's been more unsettled. When he's been poorly, he's been more unsettled. So he's not ever had milk in the night since that 4-month stage, but as a rule, he cut out his night feeds. So I am gonna do, my next video is gonna be how to get your baby to sleep through the night based on what we did for Spencer, because we had a nightmare first born sleeper, and we were adamant to get Spencer into a good routine, and what we did really, really worked. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong if he's still waking for a feed in the night at 11 months. Some babies just need that extra feed, but I will definitely share in another video how I managed to stop this. But one really small tip is just to feed them up as much as possible in the day, like really feed them up. So that would be my only tip there. I'm not sure if that helps. Has Spencer gone through a fussy eating stage? Yes, he definitely, well, it's not even a stage, he is just very strong-minded. So if he doesn't like something, he'll be like, no, I'm not eating it, chuck it off of his high chair, won't eat it. Whereas with Oscar, he was much more open to trying things. But again, I think that's probably an option for a separate video as well. But when I weaned Spencer, we gave him like all sorts of veg, and you know, we were in lockdown and I had all the time, well not all the time, but you know, I was at home, I wasn't rushing here, there and everywhere, so he didn't really have convenience foods or pouches. He had home cooked meals. I feel like he was less fussy then, whereas now, where we lived in all these different places and I was just giving him Ella's Kitchen pouches, which is fine, but everything was like blended, no, he didn't really have any textures. As soon as I put a piece of broccoli on his tray the other day, he was like, Mum, you think I'm eating that? So persistency with that one, I reckon. But yes, in short, he definitely has got fussier, I would say. Now, this is a good one. I like this one. So, how did you know you were ready to become a mum? Honestly, I've always known. I've always been maternal ever since the age of like 18. I had lots of younger siblings, and I just knew I wanted to be a mum. Had to wait for the right person, and as soon as I did meet the right person, which is my husband, who I'm with now, I wanted it like immediately. So yeah, I think you just know. For me, that was what I'd done. However, I do have friends that have said to me, I'm not maternal at all, I'm not maternal, and yet even when they're pregnant, they think, oh my goodness, how am I going to be? And then as soon as they have that baby, they go, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. So some people do get that feeling, some people don't, but I did. Hi Vicky, what was your milk stroke food routine at 7+ months, please? So Spencer is now 13 months. So I weaned in at 6 months, and as I said earlier, I should have kept a diary of this. As I said earlier, I did put him on 3 solid meals a day quite quickly, and he also kept his 4 bottles. So he used to get up at 7, have a big bottle, a 9-ounce bottle of milk. Well, I'd make 9 ounces, but he would drink between 7 and 9. Then he would have his breakfast sort of usually about an hour after his first bottle. And then he used to go for a sleep between 9 and 11. So he'd go down at 9 to 11. When he woke at 11, he'd have milk. So he'd have about a 5-ounce bottle of milk. Then he would have his lunch at 12. Then he'd go back down for a sleep at 1 till 3. And then at 3 o'clock, he'd have another 5-ounce bottle. And then at about 4:30, he would have tea. And then about 6 o'clock, he'd have a 7 to 9-ounce bottle again. So he ate and drank a lot. So he was on 4 bottles. So what does that total? If he drank all of those bottles dry, 28 ounces of milk and 3 solid meals. But it didn't really snack in between because the milk was his snack, if that makes sense. So that's what Spencer was doing. But you know, with the 3 solid meals, he wouldn't necessarily eat a huge meal. I just made sure he was eating at set times. So I hope that helps. Ah. I've only just noticed this question. Thank you, Pamela. So my lovely friend Pamela's just said, how do you always look so fabulous juggling everything you're doing right now? I don't. I just document when I've got makeup on. Yeah, but thank you very much. I definitely don't, but I really appreciate that. So the next one is, my nearly 1-year-old used to eat so well and now I feel like he just picks. Any suggestions? I don't really know, because Spencer doesn't, I mean, how many bottles is your little one having? My Spencer has 2 bottles a day now, just 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. I mean, I definitely find that with baby-led weaning, so I do a little bit of both. I did a little bit of both, sorry. But I actually like to spoon feed Spencer. Number 1, it's a bit less messy. And number 2, I feel like you can get more into them. So I think if I put sandwiches and like snacky bits, which I do sometimes, and like fruit in front of him, he does just pick. So I don't know, maybe spoon feed, I don't know. I don't know if you have or you haven't, but I hope that helps a little bit. But all babies are different, so in my personal opinion, I like to spoon feed him. I just feel like he gets more. But equally, if your baby's happy and content and sleeping through, then obviously that's all that they need. So I wouldn't worry about it so much. But if you're concerned because they're suddenly not sleeping through the night, then maybe try get something more into them. So the next question is, love your content, thank you. I am very anxious about getting my 18-month daughter into daycare. I can totally relate to this. So Spencer does a day and a half a week in nursery. He's only been doing it about 3 weeks. Of those 3 weeks, he had 2 off because of COVID. I won't go into that. He didn't have COVID, but long story. I get it. It is really worrying with COVID. Is that the reason why you're worried? I mean, I do feel like that's extra pressure. If it's your first baby, I remember that feeling. I worked almost full time when I went back after my first son, and he had to go into nursery, and I hated it. I really hated it. I felt so guilty, used to cry every time. But what I will say is on your second, you do harden up a little bit. As harsh as that sounds, you know that they're okay. And I dropped Spencer off the other day and Oscar was with me. And Spencer was crying. Oscar said, oh, I feel so sorry for mummy. He doesn't want to be there. He's really sad. And I said to him, darling, you used to do that all the time. Do you remember? And he said, no. And now Oscar's the type of child that would go into any sort of like daycare. So he asks me to go to holiday clubs in the holidays. He asks me to go to after school sports clubs. He loves doing stuff like that. So I don't know whether that helped with him, but yeah. I get it, it is a really unnerving time, but they will be fine. Just find the right childcare for you. So look around a few places and make sure you like where you choose. Next question is, does your little boy self-soothe when in bed? If so, how did you make this happen? Yes, he does. How did we make that happen? Hard work, lots of crying, lots of leaving him. Yeah, it is hard work. Some babies can just do it. And when he was a really small baby, he was really good at it. But I remember the first time I tried to get him to do it, he was really little, and I must have gone up and down those stairs 80 times in one night, putting his dummy in, putting his dummy in, putting his dummy in. So yeah, just starting from a really, really young age is good, but if you haven't done that, I'm not a huge fan of controlled crying, in a sense of, I don't follow anything that anyone's told me for that, but I do think that if they know that you're gonna go to them because they cry, they'll just keep crying. Whereas if you are a little bit tough, and I know it's really, really hard, but I will explain this in my next video. If you are a little bit tough, they will go to sleep. And if you can just kind of, I don't know, not ignore them, keep an eye on them, but recognize the cry, I suppose. Like, I know when Spencer's angry because he's not getting my attention, or if he's genuinely upset, like I can tell the difference. So yeah, we did some crying, and it's worked. So yeah, he definitely self-soothes, but he does try it on every now and again. But yeah, we also have a You in the Dream sheet. That's worked a dream for us. What's your best way of entertaining Spencer on rainy days? Wow, this has been difficult for me because we are living on a building site and there's always people here. And prior to that, he was smaller. So we go to soft play. That's one thing that we do. The other thing is, I'm really lucky, I think, with both my boys, is that they're very, very happy to just play. And I only have to put a few toys out, and Spencer would happily play for hours. So yeah, I'm really lucky in that sense. He's not a very needy child. It's a bit of a weird time for me because we're not in our own sort of home comforts with no one around, and I haven't even got a dining table. I've got no arts and crafts. I've got nothing here at the moment. So I probably wouldn't, that's probably not the best question. That's not the best answer I could give you. If you ask me in a month or so, then it would be a better answer. Any tips for getting labour started? No, unfortunately not. I just don't think any of those. I think they're all old wives' tales because I tried them all with both my boys and I was induced with them both. Sorry, I hope you've actually had the baby now. By the time you've watched this, I hope you've had the baby, but just hang on in there because it will be so worth it. As soon as you're holding that baby in your arms, it will be worth it, I promise. So yeah, just hang on in there. I know how you feel, but it won't be long. This is a good one actually, and a few people have asked this, is how do you wean him off formula onto cow's milk? I went cold turkey. I just went boom, straight onto cow's milk. Now I will say that prior to putting him onto cow's milk, I had been giving him dairy, so I've been giving him yogurts and cheese, so full fat cheese, full fat yogurts, every now and again, so he got used to that, like dairy, and I'd also been putting full fat milk on his cereal if he'd been having it like porridge, so he'd already had a little bit, but when it came to switching his bottles, I just went straight in with the cow's milk. I did it with Oscar, it didn't cause them any problems. I'm really lucky that they don't have any intolerances or anything like that, and yeah, I mean, the nappies change a little bit, but apart from that, really happy, and no issues with that. So everyone's got their own way, but that's my way. Oh, okay, so 1 year on after having my baby and I still don't feel myself. Any advice? I'm sorry you feel like that. As you probably know, I think we've spoken a few times actually on Instagram, that I suffered with, you know, mental health after Spencer, and I suppose it still lingers on and rears its ugly head every now and again. But all I can say is, have you sought help? Have you spoken to anyone? I had some therapy and I had it on the NHS. It was amazing. Maybe take some time for yourself. So make sure you prioritise things that you enjoy, like even if it's just taking a bath or like going and having your hair done, or things that you enjoy, going for a run. Like I I'm a huge believer of exercise helping your mental well-being. And as everyone knows that watches my channel, I love to run and do fitness, and I really genuinely feel like that really helps me. So I would say maybe go and seek some help, or just maybe make some time for yourself. And also please message me, because I am here to talk anytime. Are you going to adjust your routine with the clocks changing this week? Good question. Now, I did last in the spring when the clocks went forward, and that worked really well. I'm probably a bit late now. In all honesty, because I'm so all over the place, no, I probably am not going to get the time to do that, but I probably should have done, because I did it in spring and it worked really well. So we'll just have to wing it and hope that he adjusts. I'm just being completely transparent with you. Okay, last couple of questions, and one is from my lovely friend Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. She said, how is Vicky doing? I can always count on you to be really caring in your questions. Yeah, I'm really good. I have been incredibly stressed, and that hence my absence on here. It's been a really busy time for us having a baby, and my baby is into absolutely everything. So I have found it very challenging doing all that we've been doing with my child. But I am doing okay, I'm doing good, I feel good. I have the odd day where I don't feel good, but I mean, they are really few and far between now. I'm feeling amazing. So thank you so much for asking, and I hope you're okay too. So the last one is, what age did he start having long naps? What age did he start having long? I'm trying to understand that question. Are you saying that your baby is 3 months and naps 30 to 40 minutes in the cot? So what age did he start having long naps? I actually can't remember. How bad is that? Oh, I think he was quite young, you know. I think he was like, I think when he started sleeping through, he would have like the two hour naps in the day. I would say from about like 4 months maybe. He used to sleep 9 till 11 and then 1 till 3. And now he still has to have a very short burst in the morning of like 20 minutes at about 9ish. We're usually in the car, or we're usually coming back from a school run, and he has about 20 minutes. And then he'll have like 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon. So he still sleeps absolutely loads. And I honestly believe that that is key to getting them to sleep through as well, because I feel like when babies are overtired, they don't sleep through. So obviously I'll get onto that with another video, but I'm sorry if that wasn't very clear. I just genuinely can't remember that far back, but hopefully that was helpful. So thank you so much everyone for sending those questions in. I really enjoyed doing that. I hope that helped some of you. And please keep your eyes peeled for my next video. I am going to do how I got my baby to sleep through the night, but I am no expert. I'm just a mum of 2, and these are the things that worked for me. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you next time. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to hit that like button. It means the world. And subscribe. There'll be many more videos where this came from. Thanks again.